everyone. Thank you for watching my video. This is a video about my Stanford Code in Place final project. So for our project, we could do whatever we wanted to do, and I did something I've wanted to do for a while, and that is that I made a Twitter bot, and I also made my first GitHub action. So my code is on GitHub, and I've made a README here that kind of talks about what I've done. I went to a site called Unsplash, and I was looking through the photo collections, and I saw a collection with pet photos, and it kind of got me thinking about Simba, our instructor Chris's dog, which has played a really important role in our course because we've applied image algorithms to photos, including a photo of Simba. So I looked at the API information, and I found out that you can download, or at least you can identify an image in the collection, and you can use it in an app. And so I made a little Python script that fetches a photo, downloads it into my project, applies an image filter algorithm to it randomly, and then tweets the photo to a Twitter bot account inspired by Simba. So the image algorithms I used, I have a little demonstration here in my README. Unfortunately, I was not able to use Simple Image, the program we've used in our course. I could not get it to work with Twython, the Twitter API library I used. But I've taken a photo from Unsplash, and I have applied all of the filters just to show what the effect is. So this is a photo with no change to it. This is a photo that has a black and white filter, sepia filter, Gaussian blur. I've got two examples of that because as you increase the number of the radius, it becomes more blurry. This is called Unsharp Mask, and it's actually also really similar to another one I used called Kernel. Kernel is just a little bit softer detail. And this is a negative image effect. So my Python script I wrote, basically I import the Python standard libraries and the third-party libraries I need. And there's some special secrets involved. I'll talk about that in a minute. But my program, I find a random number between 1 and 278 because there are that many photos. And then I append the number to the end of the collection URL, and I create a path so that for the downloaded file, I use a library called request to download and close the file. Then I reopen it with Pillow image library. If I'm running this on my computer, I show the image. And then I have a list of image algorithms that I run a Python library function called random choices on, so that one of these algorithms will be randomly chosen, and these algorithms are further down the file in these functions. So whichever algorithm is randomly chosen, it is called, and the image and the file path are passed into it. So the image algorithm runs, and it creates a new image called modified image. And then I call a function called save image. And that shows the new image on the computer and saves it and returns the modified image. And then that is then opened and passed into Python and tweeted, optionally with a status update. And then because there will now be a file in my project directory, I call a function called remove file, which checks to see if it exists. I mean, if there was some kind of error or something, it's possible it might not exist. So if it exists, that file is removed. So the first thing that happened was that I got this running on my actual local computer, and was able to begin tweeting photos programmatically. So you can see I've got some photos here that have photo filters applied, and this was really exciting. But I had a stretch goal that I wanted to try to get this running using something called GitHub Actions. GitHub Actions is basically a new it's a new feature in GitHub where, well, at the time I really wasn't completely sure how it works. So this was part of my learning. So here in my code, there's a folder called .github and another one called Workflows. And I have a workflow file here, and what I really wasn't sure about was that I wasn't sure if, basically by running this workflow, it can automate a task within your GitHub repo. But I wasn't sure if it could download and manipulate and save an image and tweet it all within GitHub. So the thing that is important that I learned about this, looking at my workflow file, I had to identify some trigger for this workflow to run. And when I was kind of testing it, I used a trigger of when a change is made to the master branch. But alternatively, you can set it up so that you can have a schedule that runs. And this is also what you might do if you would run this program from your local environment on your computer. The amazing thing is that this workflow, it creates a workspace in GitHub. And basically, I have replicated my local development environment within GitHub. So on my actual computer, I have my repo cloned. You can see that the files are basically the same as what is in my GitHub repo. And I have my terminal here. I have created something called a virtual environment where my project, kind of all of the software needed for it is installed within it. So you can see that I've got Python 3.8 installed. That's what I'm using. And in my GitHub Action workflow, that's also what I would use. I use something called pyenv for my virtual environment. So if I go to my pyenv folder, I have a little special environment for my app. And if I go into my site packages, you can see that I've got Pillow and Requests and Twython all installed, just like I would install into my GitHub Action workflow. And then I've got some special secrets that are required by Twitter. In my Twitter app, I'm not going to open it just so I don't make a mistake and show the secret. When I created the developer account in my app, it generated some special information that I had to use in my app so that Twitter knows that I have access. So I've already, in my local environment, I've put those, exported them into my project. In my GitHub README, you can see how to do it, but I've already done it so you wouldn't accidentally see those. In GitHub, in order to make it work, I have put those secrets in my settings, and I have referenced them in my GitHub Action Workflow file, and that enables my program in GitHub to access the secret from the actual settings. And the way that that is done is by accessing them through this Python library that can get it from the environment as something called an environment variable. So then, very importantly, when it's time for this program to run, the GitHub action will run the same command that I would run on my actual computer. So if I run it in my terminal on my actual computer, it's gonna show, you won't see it right now, but because it goes too quickly, but this photo will have been actually downloaded into my project folder, processed, and deleted. It happened that quickly. So the program has shown me the original photo, and it has run the negative image filter. Frankly, the negative image filter sometimes creates some creepy photos, but I know it's a bit silly, but it's about experimenting and learning how to do a new thing. So if I now go to Twitter, I click the right one, and I go to this bot and refresh it, you can see that that photo was actually tweeted. Another one has also been tweeted after that, because I also have GitHub Actions running this on a cron schedule. It's running it every 10 minutes. And what is kind of different is that I will not see what is happening because it's happening in a GitHub workspace. So 1 minute ago, it literally did the same thing that I did on my computer. So you can see the difference is, I guess it creates and probably destroys the environment every time it does this. But it has set up Python 3.8 just like I had on my local computer. It has installed the same dependencies I had installed. And then, just like on my local computer, it has run python photo.py, and it worked. The green little check mark shows that it worked. So I didn't see it happening, but the photo that processed was this black and white photo of this dog. So I frankly was shocked that my GitHub action worked. I really didn't know if all of that could happen within that invisible workspace. I think it's a really good exercise to learn how to run the program on your local computer, and frankly, I probably really needed to be able to do that to figure out how it would work. And amazingly, when I pushed it to GitHub, the GitHub action literally worked right away, because then I had kind of figured out that I needed to set it up just like my local workspace. It's kind of nice to be able to run it through GitHub. I remember I used to watch, when I was a kid, there were infomercials on TV, and they would have something like an oven that they were selling, and they would use this little slogan, set it and forget it. And I definitely think that it would be nice to be able to run something through GitHub Actions and just set it and forget it and not have an extra folder on your local computer. So that is my project. If you have any questions about it, feel free to contact me. And you can also go to the README and learn more. I actually have a favorite photo that has been posted. There's this photo of a cat with a butterfly on its nose. Seems kind of special too, because the idea of a butterfly, that people, when we began our program, were like the caterpillar, and we're coming out as butterflies that can fly away and do beautiful things. So here's the original photo, and this absolutely gorgeous negative version was tweeted that I just love. And here is also a black and white version that was tweeted. So that is my project. Feel free to check it out. Thank you.